Well, joining me right now is immigration lawyer Harjap Singh Bhangal. Good morning to you, Harjap. Are you well?
Morning, Julia.
Really lovely to
All
talk to you.
good.
So, look, Prime Minister very much on the back foot for a lot of the week, gets his bill through, but certainly he is walking wounded right now. Now there's going to be a battle in the House of Lords. He's tried to get on the front foot today, saying, look, we've got it through. It's all down to the Lords. I represent the will of the British people. Labour haven't got a plan. The Lords are going to try and stop it, but we need to get this through. I mean, realistically, even if the bill gets through, what's the earliest we are likely to ever see, if at all, a plane taking off with even one Channel migrant on it?
Possibly about June, I would reckon, the timetable is. So obviously that's why the election is going to happen a bit later, so the Conservatives can declare this whole thing a success. But like you said, even if it's just one person on there, paying 400 odd million for one person to go to Rwanda and hoping that on the day that the bill was passed yesterday, actually about 350 migrants crossed the channel on 8 different boats. So as much as a deterrent as the government claim it is, I don't think it is. The gangs don't seem to think so. They don't care. They don't care about the consequences. They're still making money. Nothing in the bill in how they're going to catch the gangs. Nothing about giving them life sentences as it should be. In fact, the Home Office tweet yesterday was claiming victory that they'd caught a person trying to smuggle a Vietnamese lady into the UK, and were actually boasting about the fact that he had got 30 months, only 30 months, and he'll be out in 15 months, and that's about just over a year. That's nothing to boast about. That's not a deterrent. If anything, that encourages people thinking, I can make a few millions and still only go down for a year.
But also the people making the millions, they don't get caught. They're not the people, driving the lorries or on the beaches with these dinghies, are they? They're way back there living in their luxury homes somewhere miles away, but raking in the money. I mean, look, you say you haven't got much hope on this, and certainly it's one of my arguments that even if there weren't the legal challenges, even if these boats did actually even if the people who arrived on the boats did actually get sent to Rwanda, in terms of the numbers who we would ever likely see, it's so minimal, it's not enough of a deterrent, and certainly not for people who are willing to take their risks on a dinghy. But we had the extraordinary situation yesterday where the president of Rwanda said to a reporter from Britain, well, if no one ever comes to Rwanda, we'll hand the money back. I mean,
well, he said
even
we
he
might.
doesn't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, he said we might. So, and in fact, in the deal that's been signed, Julia, this was so clumsy of this government, there was no proviso for that. So we can't enforce it. So it's down to him. He might give us a £5 back. He might just give us $2.99 back.
To be fair to the Rwandan government, if we can't get our wherewithal up to send these people, but they've had to prepare accommodation and go through a load of legals at their end, it's our fault, not theirs. We've got a contract. Just because we can't keep our end up doesn't mean they shouldn't get to keep the dosh. I would suggest we need to get our act together. What do you make of the reports today about? And it's something that the Home Office Minister Chris Philp has been talking about, that actually they've managed to cut the number of hotels, because I think some 50 fewer hotels are now being used to house migrants. People are being moved out, although other reports suggest that actually they might be moved out of some hotels, actually just been moved to other hotels, maybe 2 or 3 to a room instead of 1 to a room, who knows. But actually we are still paying millions upon millions upon millions every single day to house these people. And none of these people realistically will end up in Rwanda. They came long before this bill was ever even, a twinkle in anyone's eye.
Well, if we go by the Home Office acceptance rate, out of these people, probably about 60% will end up being granted asylum. The only reason they're being housed is the fact the Home Office hasn't given them a decision, and they're taking up to a year and a half to make that decision. Now, if you're going to let them stay anyway, surely give them the permission to stay straight away and give them permission to work so that they can feed themselves and house themselves, and there wouldn't be a burden on the government. So that crisis, the hotels, is self-made by this government. If you know someone's from Syria or from Iran and you can't send them back, why wait a year and a half to tell them, all right, you can stay here and now we can work, and that time we'll house you? You might as well just let them stay from day dot.
Our rate of acceptance for people is much higher than in many other mainland countries in Europe. Where supposedly they are very welcoming, like Germany, to migrants. A lot of these people will be granted the right to stay here, even though they've actually failed in asylum bids, not just passed through, but failed in asylum bids in other countries. But also, from what I can understand, actually, a lot of these people, they have the right to stay here, but actually, it's kind of because the Home Office has given up. It's not because they've been, yes, we believe you are 100% someone who is in need of asylum, you are under persecution. The Home Office just basically gives them the right to stay, and they just kind of just, tick, done, get you off our books, which is not what the British people want.
I don't think it's sort of that is the whole argument here. The fact is, if you come from a war-torn country, there's no way the Home Office can send you back. The other thing is, if we don't have return agreements with countries, we can't send people back. The other thing, and the key thing is, our return rate is poor and it's gone down. We need to know why that's gone down. Why has that gone down from 2010 from 60,000 people? Why was there only 3,000 enforced removals in 2022? This is this government's doing. There's no specific unit to send people back. And it's taking ages to decide cases.
Why do you think that's happened? Because a lot of people say, oh, post-Brexit, those numbers plummeted long before we had Brexit enacted or even before the Brexit vote. Why has that happened?
Well, I know why it's happened, and I'll tell you why it's happened. Because every year, the Home Affairs Select Committee tells us the Home Office is not fit for purpose. What you're doing is putting a load on a load-bearing wall, which is not fit for purpose, which has got cracks on it. So you're putting a roof on a building, all the walls are decimated, and hoping that the roof stays up when you know it isn't. It's the walls that cannot hold the strain. What you've got to do is invest in the Home Office, go to scratch, basically, rebuild your systems again, and put someone in charge who actually knows what they're doing. Yeah. We've had more ministers of the Home Office, than we've had people sent to Rwanda. And that is crazy if you think about it. Yeah. We've spent 400 million for what? For absolutely nothing, when we could have invested that in the system, sped up all these claims and reduced the backlog correctly, not just say we have and then find out later that actually we haven't really, the figures have been massaged. Get all of this done properly. We could open a processing centre in France and process them there, offshore, so we can speed up all of this and deter people smugglers. And more importantly, we can actually get the gangs, set up elite units. 400 million, you could have set up 200 Marines, go and get these gangs, put them in jail. We can find bin Laden, we can fund wars, we can find Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi who are holed up in strongholds and bring them to trial in front of international courts. We can't find gangs that operate on our shores in front of us using the same routes from Calais to Dover.
It's literally the same
20 years, it is beyond belief, Julia.
But that's what shows us there isn't the political will. A lot of people certainly say when it comes to the Home Office, needing to actually split that department up. And so you've got one government department with one cabinet minister responsible for dealing with the immigration issue, legal and illegal, but none of the other sides of security. Although, of course, we know they're all very tied in. It's always so good to talk to you. Immigration lawyer Harjap Singh Bhangal, thank you for that.